close-knit family, and today we're recording live on location. That location being the other side of the house.
Yay!
Hi.
I'm Sue.
I'm Michael.
I'm Melissa.
This is our special guest for today. Yay!
Yay!
So our first special guest.
Woohoo!
You probably can't tell, but Melissa is also related to us and part of our close-knit family. Yeah. So we are following Michael's progress through
learning how to knit.
Learning how to knit and starting to knit. And Melissa has had her own experiences with knitting, and we'll talk a little bit more about those later too. And you never know, maybe we'll end up following her too, but no promises. No promises. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? So we're going to have what's new this week, and we're going to look at some new yarn.
Ooh.
And we're going to look at what Mike brings to the table. Okay, so moving right along, I just thought I would mention, because last week I talked about, I'm going to bring my voice down into my low register so that I'm not so squeaky. That's not what we talked about last week. But what we're going to was Knit City and the registration for workshops opening up in June. I had an actual date last week, and it's June 15th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, and the dates for Knit City are the 29th and 30th of September, and they have the workshops go from the 28th, Friday the 28th, through to Monday the 1st of October. Okay, so I didn't realize when I got my notification last week that I could get access to the workshops, and then my dear friend Cindy pointed that out to me. Thanks, Cindy! And so I went and looked at the workshops, and holy workshops, man. So I decided to go through, and I was looking just for like what workshops do I want to take? There's tons of them, and I narrowed it down to 9. So that was a problem, because I wouldn't have had any time at the, not only could I not afford that, but I wouldn't have had any time at the marketplace, which is one of the things I really want to see, some different dyers and different yarns. So then I had to go, and I'm trying to narrow it down from just what I want to see and what that would be fun. So of course the only one that's on my I must attend this workshop happens the very last thing on the last day. So Monday at like 2 o'clock, there's a workshop on technical editing for patterns, and that's something that I would like to get that for myself, but I also think it would help me in reading patterns as well. So, and then another one that I wanted to take is the shawl design with Hoagie Locatelli on, I think that's on Saturday afternoon, might be Saturday morning, I'm not sure. Excuse me. Because shawl design would be a neat thing. And then, what was the other one? Because I got down to 3. The other one was the North Atlantic mitts, which might sound like a weird choice, but these guys are totally bored right now. You probably are too. Anyway, might sound like a weird choice, except that I am totally a self-taught knitter, and I literally taught myself how to make mittens, and then I got a pattern after the fact. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to actually like find out, because she talks about like double thumbed knit mittens and trigger mittens and stuff, which I'm thinking will have a lot to do with, how the I know.
Double what? Double thumb.
I know. I don't even know what that means. And so anyway, I just thought there'd probably be some neat construction techniques in that workshop. I'm thinking I'm not going to go to that one anymore, though. And the other workshop I wanted to go to was another Hohi Locatelli one, which was the sweater construction. Sweater fitting and construction and stuff. And again, because that's kind of, I want that information, but I feel like I would be stalking the poor woman if I went to every single, workshop that she had. So, I don't know. I got to think about that, and I really have to seriously look at how much they cost. But let us know, what workshops at Knit City do you want to go and see? And I guess I should say Knit City, for those of you who don't know, is a fiber event. I've never been, so I don't know. It's a fiber event in Vancouver, and I guess it's a pretty big deal. So
kind of like Comic-Con for knitters.
Exactly what I said. Exactly what I said.
Last week. It's a con, not a con.
Not a con, but a con.
But a convention.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was my little bit about Knit City. All right, so Mike.
Hi.
What's new this week?
Well, I actually finally got to casting on. I finished my correct swatch, gauge swatch.
Where are they?
They're right over there.
No, don't go.
No, I'm not gonna go. Hi, I'm talking.
You go.
Where?
Go around behind. There's 2 swatches on the table.
There should be 2 swatches. But yeah, I finally got the correct swatch done.
Oh, here, come on in.
Other table.
Other table.
And I got the yes, those. Yeah. So let's see. Last week I had this swatch done, but the problem is.
Bye, Dad.
Bye, Dad.
Okay. Bye, honey. Now that you know. No.
But the problem is, it was done. I did it on the wrong needles. I misread confidently the pattern. New swatch is larger than the other one. That's not a good way of showing. Anyway, so I got the swatch done. There we go. And determine. Oh, what did I determine? I was supposed to have 16 stitches in a 4-inch square, and I had like 18.
You say peekaboo. Peekaboo. Okay.
I had like 16 stitches in a 4-inch, 18 stitches. Sorry, in a 4-inch line where I was supposed to have 16, and I had 20 rows.
I can't remember. It wasn't exact.
It wasn't exact. From that, we were able to determine how many stitches I was supposed to cast on, which was 100. And now here's my progress so far. So the first part of the pattern is just the ribbing. It's a toque. The first part of the pattern is just the ribbing all down here.
But it's a little bit different ribbing. Yeah,
it's because instead of just knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, you sort of do a for these rows you do like a knit to the back loop, purl, knit to the back loop, purl. And then these ones are knit, purl, knit, purl.
I'm sorry, a what to the what now?
A knit
to the back loop.
Knit through the back loop. Now, I think, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is what's known as a twisted rib.
Maybe.
I've heard people talking about it, and it does. It kind of pushes, if you just look at that bottom part anyway, it just kind of makes those stitches kind of stick out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, and this is also my first experience in knitting in the round. And we're using the magic loop method, which, I mean, I still don't get it. Like, I know what it is, but I don't get its utility. Like, what? Okay, so you have this loop.
Okay, so let me show you. So you were knitting on like a 16-inch needle, right? before.
Yeah,
Or
16
inch,
yeah,
right?
loop, yeah.
So what happened? And you had the little needles,
Right, yeah.
and you were finding it was too confining and too tight to knit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So here's a larger needle.
Okay.
You could, if you wanted, pull your knitting like right. Oh, you do have tight gauge.
Well, but
Okay, Mike's a tight knitter.
But I don't.
Okay.
I don't. That's the thing.
So you could force it like this, and stretch your knitting
Right.
all out, and continue. So for those of you who can't see what I've got going on there, so I'm just like knitting like I was knitting in the round and not doing magic loop.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do that and stretch your knitting all to hell, and so and this is just going to get smaller. So as it gets smaller,
Right.
you're going to have less and less and less to knit around, right?
Right.
So by doing magic loop, you're able to knit in the round without stretching out your knitting.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
It gives you the, because otherwise, and this is like Mike doesn't know about DPNs,
What?
which are double pointed needles.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, which
I knew that.
personally, I would never teach somebody how to use double pointed needles because I've had such terrible experiences with them.
Actually,
And I know Mike was asking me early on, he was concerned about his join and that it was sort of like kind of loose right
Mhm.
here. And as you can see, it's not bad
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Hey, did you weave in your end?
I have not. No.
Where's your end?
It's right there.
Oh, right, of course. Anyway, but if it's only the first couple of rounds usually where you have a problem with that, and I
Yeah.
told Mike, pull it. I pull it quite tight.
That. Yeah.
But if one was really concerned about that bit of stretch there, can't really see it. One could just tuck it in with a couple stitches
Mhm.
at the end. But anyway, I prefer magic loop to DPNs.
So yeah, I got the ribbing done and got into a bit of the body.
Just trying to get this back so it won't fall off the needles as Mike talks about it.
And,
There we go.
Yeah, I don't knit tight, but all my stitches end up tight.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right.
Like it's particularly at the joints.
At the joint, and that's because you when you pull this tight, you're anyway, okay.
But it's I found it actually kind of hard to get for me personally to get through the ribbing because there wasn't a set row count. It was just knit until there's 2 inches of ribbing, which wasn't like I didn't have a definite end for that. I didn't have knit 20 rows or however many rows it was. It was just knit until it's 2 inches.
So 2 inches wasn't an adequate.
No,
end.
it wasn't.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh,
That's so sorry. Just we talked before about Mike being very detail oriented, and so that's interesting. That for Mike, in looking at patterns now in the future, we'll look for things that have very definite things. See, to me, 2 inches is still a very definite thing.
No, I totally get where he's coming from. With
Yeah.
With
But
the
I get, I like that too. I like to be able to say, okay, I've got this many more rows to go. It's easier to have an end in sight.
Yeah, like now that I'm into the body and there's it's a row count that I have left. It's like yes, I'm just gonna fly through this now.
Yeah, and he's done. I'm actually really surprised for how long it took him to get through the ribbing. Now that he's into this bit of pattern bit in the tread hat. Did you say it was the tread hat?
I did not. It's
okay,
tread
it's
hat.
the tread hat. Wow, he's got a lot more rows done.
Yeah.
Now the other thing Mike was saying when he was doing the ribbing, is he found it hard, and especially as a new knitter, he found it hard to identify. Had he just done one of the
a knit to the back or a regular knit?
Or yes, because you do three
knit
through the back of the loops.
Two regular.
Two regular. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
You don't count. And I had suggested to Mike, and so this is something, for if someone else is struggling with, like, I'm just not exactly sure where I'm at, or where if I have a pattern repeat, which is what that's called.
Yeah.
It's a pattern repeat. Throw a stitch marker in.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a stitch marker, and then as you go along, if you think you're doing one thing and you know that as part of the pattern it's something different, throw a stitch marker in, and then you know. But the other thing that came up with that, and with Mike having done 2 gauge swatches, it brought us to another conversation at the time, is that I will usually do 2 gauge swatches. I'll knit them, though. Someone hold the top of that up. No, the top. There we go. I'll knit them like this. So I'll do 1 needle size, and I'll do some garter stitch, and then I'll do the second needle size. And that's because you can feel, sometimes you might have gauge, but the fabric doesn't feel right. Or how dense is it? How much light? And again, you can't tell from yours. Oh, well, here, a little bit. We'll use Melissa's white face. No, why am I not getting that? Anyway, how much light comes through? Because maybe you don't want that loose of a fabric. Maybe you want something denser. And maybe it's just like how it feels. Mm-hmm. So gauge is super duper important. But if you know that, okay, I got gauge, but I don't like the fabric, you might have the wrong yarn for the project. And that's worth looking at too, unless you're really, really good or know someone who's really good at saying, well, that's okay, let's just adjust the pattern. Mm-hmm. So really something to consider when you're doing your gauge swatch is what kind of fabric are you getting as well, mm-hmm. right? Do you want to have a feel and rub that?
A feel and a rub.
What else did you want to say about your hat?
What else did I want to? There've been a couple goofy spots where I've had to where I've accidentally knit to the back where I should have knit. Like actually, when you were holding it up, there was a spot that I saw that I hadn't noticed before. Yeah. So yeah, like right there.
Yeah.
You can see how that's kind of pulled together. I can now identify that that's where I knit through the back loop instead of just regular knitting.
I'm sorry, Michael knit these?
Yeah.
I knit those.
Amazing gauge, right?
Really, really nice.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
high five.
Oh. And I mean, yeah, there's been a couple places where I've had to go back and tink and fix things, and then I end up with really big stitches, kind of like that spot in there.
We could still fix that.
We can still fix that, and I look at it
because this is where you didn't pick up.
Oh, there is actually a problem
So all
there.
that would tighten up. So we're going to go back and fix that later.
Oh, okay. I didn't appreciate that there was actually a problem there. Okay.
But that's all good.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, right? Sometimes when you're knitting, it's like, whoa, that's a problem. And it's like, oh, well. Because really, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
But that one's fairly easy to, and actually it'll be a good learning thing to do that.
Yeah, other than that, that's about what I
That's
have.
about it?
That's about it.
Okay. My turn.
Hi.
So I've been working on my graphic tank.
Graphite.
Why can't I say that? So my graphite tank. So where'd my picture go? So that's that. Okay, so that's what it's supposed to look like. Oh, don't show the pattern. So this is where I got to. So if you remember, or for those of you who are new, I had got to almost all of these fan sections finished, and then I frogged it.
I found that frogging video.
Did you?
It is on my phone. I just don't know why I couldn't find it when I was looking for it.
It doesn't matter. Nothing. Okay, so I frogged it and then I started again because I thought it was too big. So now obviously I'm partway up the body and I'm as far up, and I'm in the boring stocking stitch part, but I'm far enough up now that I threw some bigger cables in to see how it fit, and I'm still not sure. I don't know if the sizing is quite right. Go let the cat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put in a bigger cable and I'm going to block it and see how that works. And I'm going to show you why I'm so messed up about getting it to fit. This is the last sweater that I made for myself, and I made it to size for me. And it's just like, it's too, you know, if it's done up, it's just too big. It's just like it's, and I don't wear it. And there's a lot of yarn in this thing. And I don't wear it because it doesn't fit right. So that's something I don't want to run into again. So I'm taking the time to really kind of see. I'm really hoping I got it right and I don't have to frog it again. But so that's my.
What is frogging?
Frogging is like ripping it all out, putting it back on a ball.
I think we had this conversation.
Probably.
Okay.
So yeah, like everything that you just saw there, she's frogged that once.
Oh wow.
Well, except for the yellowish part.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the colored part.
Yeah.
So that made me I was like, I don't really want to put any more knitting into that, but I didn't want to block it because I knew we were going to film today. So last night I was like, okay, what am I going to work on? So I couldn't decide. You saw this in the first episode, I think.
Yes.
If I should work on this, which was sort of like, that was a little bit more than I felt like getting into. So that's the butterfly. The butterfly papillon. Okay, I don't have the cover page there. Butterfly shawl. So yeah, we talked about that in the first episode. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to, I didn't feel like working on the Poncini is not making me happy.
Oh no.
I might end up frogging this just because, well, it is kind of a mindless knit. That might be a good one for camping.
Maybe.
We'll see. Anyway, so I didn't want to work on that.
So she started another thing.
No,
Oh.
So then I thought, well, this is the other one. This is the Murano.
Just the Mary Poppins of knitting.
That's funny. Anyway, so this is like all these little leaves, and you knit them all individually, and they all come together, and eventually they make a great big long scarfy thing.
Oh.
And it's pretty cool, and it's great for using up bits and pieces and ends of things.
Oh,
but again, I didn't feel like that one. Oh, I know what that is. So I started a pair of socks.
Whip.
So this is my new whip. These are the broken seed stitch. I don't know if you can see that.
The lighting's...
You can just sort of see, like, so it's got a variegated yarn and a plain yarn. This is Color Adventures yarn, which I got from a Twist of Yarn in Vernon, where we visited last episode. But this is stuff I just sort of had kicking around in my stash. It's leftovers. And anyway, I'd seen this broken seed stitch. No, you just really can't see it. So when it gets longer, you'll see more. But as you can see, I'm a 2-at-a-timer. I'm a 2-timer for socks, magic loop, and there you go. If I ever have a sock pattern or something that I can't do 2 at a time, I won't even bother doing it because I'll never finish the socks.
So what is a broken seed stitch?
Oh. Okay, so you did seed stitch.
I did seed stitch.
Which was
knit purl.
Knit purl, knit purl, knit purl.
Purl, knit purl,
Purl, knit purl, no, right. So this is same kind of thing, except you do, so with the variegated yarn, I'm not showing the yarns. There's the variegated yarn that I can't remember what the colorway is. I'm sorry. It's a single ply. And then this is the, I think this is blackberry. I think. So the blackberry rows are straight knitting.
Oh.
And then the variegated rows are knit, purl, knit, purl,
Okay.
purl, knit, purl, knit. And so you alternate. So you do, that's why it's broken, because it's got a line of plain knitting in between. But I wish you could see, it is a really neat, and yeah, next week. I'll have more done.
Next week.
But I would love to do the yoke of a sweater like that. I think that would be really, really pretty.
Yes.
So, there we go.
What is that?
Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
Melissa, let's hear your knitting history.
I am notorious for starting a project and not finishing and giving up, and my knitting disappears
And shows up again.
shows up again
Finished.
and
In maybe something completely different.
yeah. So about a year and a bit ago, I got some yarn.
No, it was last summer, so not quite a year ago.
Well, that's what, yeah, just less than a year ago.
Yeah.
There we go.
She's the other smart one.
Um,
Isn't she pretty today?
I
love you. Okay.
I got some yarn to make a blanket for my best friend's baby.
So let's see it. So we went, she had to have it. Her best friend had a baby. And it was a baby boy, so we really liked it. So, who is this? This is Swaddles from Cascade. It's a really cute variegated yarn. And Melissa had, I can't remember what the plans were. But we figured, between these two balls, if she knit it up, she'd have a pretty cute baby blanket for, how old is he now?
He'll be a year in the next month, then a bit.
So, she's still working on her baby blanket.
We're about this far.
Yeah. I think you got through like 2 days of knitting or something, but it's pretty though, hey, the way that knit up. So she's just doing a straight garter stitch, which I think could be part of the other reason why maybe it's not going terribly fast, because we all know that it's pretty boring. And
this is doing that times 10.
Yeah. So I mean, this was, this is like the the beginner scarf that nobody ever finishes on steroids.
As a blanket.
But at least you've got the changing color, right?
Yeah.
So you've got something to look forward to and something to change. But
yeah.
So, but hey, again though,
eventually he will have a blanket.
That's pretty nice tension.
Uh-huh.
You can see a few places where it's nice because it'll be fully reversible and totally washable.
Yeah.
When we find a baby
to
give it to. We'll find some random baby on the street.
Actually,
you know what? That made me think of something. We were at our knit night a while back. It was around it was around that day with a heart. Valentine's Day.
Day with a heart.
That day with a heart.
It was around Valentine's Day. And one of my friends, Brianne, I think I can say her name. Hey, Brianne!
Hi, Brianne!
Anyway, Brianne had made a cute little toque, and I think it had a heart or something on it. It had something to do with a heart. I can't remember. Anyway, there was this cute little family came in with a baby girl, and because we're at the coffee shop doing our knitting, and Brianne gave her the hat, and it was so sweet. They were so touched. It was, I know, right? So yeah, that was really, really cute. And so, when did you start? Why? Okay. What made you start? When? Okay. And okay, good. You know what? You got all the answers to all the questions that I wanted to ask you. High five. Excellent. Okay. So, something that I thought would be fun to talk about is something that I really want to knit. which is the All the Love Shawl by Joji Locatelli, and Mike's putting a picture in so you can see it right now. And it not only is it a really pretty sweater, but Joji's donating all of her proceeds from this sweater to a kindergarten in a what's the word I want?
Less fortunate?
In a less fortunate community in Argentina. So because they don't have funding. And so far, for the proceeds from the All the Love sweater from Joji Locatelli, so far she's donated, I think it's around $12,000.
Wow.
To this kindergarten. And they had said, so if you haven't seen followed Joji's journal, she talks about it on one of her journals, and they had sent her they'd sent her a video of like sort of the kids and some of the stuff they'd done with the money, like they got proper flooring in and things. And anyway, if you like the pattern, think about getting it, because it's a great pattern, and like knowing that the proceeds are going to such a great thing, I think is pretty darn cool. Mm-hmm. But that's definitely on my want to knit list. But I'm scared to do garments, but I talked about that earlier. Mm-hmm. So there we go. Check the pattern out. Mike will put a link.
I'll put a link.
He's my tech guy.
I might even put it approximately here, because I have that technology.
Neat.
If I didn't put it there, I'll put a thing referencing that I couldn't put it there.
Okay, it'll say couldn't put it here.
Yeah.
And okay, that's awesome. And I picked up some new yarn.
Ooh.
Mike hasn't seen this yet.
I haven't. Oh wow.
Ooh. So these are. I can't say that. Jailsick. Gilsk. Tweed.
Gailsk.
Anyway, so this one is kind of it's a gray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit dark on screen. Anyway, it's gray and it's got the lovely tweed tones in it, and there's a little bit of there's a mustardy brown and the black and then this one is a much darker. This is almost a gray brown. Oh, I wonder if they've got this one's called Shade. And again, it's got this sort of rusty brown in there, along with I love tweeds because they just give your knitting a little bit of something without being too much. What's that one's called?
Shade.
Oh, they're both called Shade.
Well, that's Shade T1, and this is Shade T34.
Oh, the Shade
is T30. So T34 and T1.
I'm pretty today too.
Yeah. I have to get it from somewhere.
Okay. All right. So I was actually thinking, you've heard me talk about the tilted cowl now a few times. Mm-hmm. Tilted cowl. Oh, I said that right.
Tilted cowl.
Oh, is that the one I got for Christmas?
Yeah. Well, it's not this one. So this tilted cowl, and I was thinking that these would be really nice.
Oh yeah.
With maybe like a cream in between for something a bit more earthy.
Yeah.
So that is kind of why I got these with my store credit. Okay, so which brings me kind of to another thing. So here's Mike is working on his hat, and my friend Sarah, who I have actually not met. Hi, Sarah!
Hi, Sarah!
Has just published a pattern on Ravelry. What?
The look.
Okay. So for a toque, and it's got Michael put a picture in.
Yep, I'll put a picture in
here
somewhere.
And it's I think it's called Knit a Bit of Whimsy. And it's got a little bit of that color changing going on, but not like color work. And Sarah's doing a knit along. Ooh. Starting on May 4th, and I thought it would be fun for Mike to join that.
This is the first I'm hearing of it.
I know.
Okay.
So, Mike will maybe have 2 projects. Well, we'll see. Maybe he can finish his tread hat.
Maybe.
And then, oh, wait a minute. The 4th is like this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 4 days from now.
Okay, so Mike might finish his tread hat, maybe not. And he might join this Cal. So we'll see. So that's on Ravelry. Knit a Bit of Whimsy. And
I'll put a link in the description, and I might also put a link here.
Or
not. Or not.
Yeah, so that starts on May 4th. So yeah, look that up if you'd like to get in on that. If maybe you haven't done any color changing, or maybe you just want a cute hat that's not overly complicated. It's a great pattern. I love the look of it. And I thought we'll let Melissa work on her baby blanket.
Probably a safe choice.
Okay, Mike.
Hi.
What do you bring to the table?
Today I bring to the table a bit of a weird one, considering the other ones that we've been in. So this game is This game is notable because on the box it lists that it is for between 5 and 30 players. For ages 13 plus, takes about half an hour to an hour and a half to play, and it is Ultimate Werewolf.
It's so much.
It is so much fun. It's a great game of hidden identities. Some of you will be given role cards where you become werewolves. Some of you will be villagers, and some of you villagers will have special abilities. You have a moderator who controls the whole game, and the game is played in sort of day-night cycles. And the goal of the villagers is to eliminate the werewolves. The goal of the werewolves is to eliminate the villagers. The rest you'll have to figure out on your own.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's kind of like for anyone who has played like Wink Murder. It's like that, but without the winking.
It's a more structured Wink Murder. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good time.
It's great.
And in case you were wondering, Steve's the werewolf.
Steve's the werewolf.
Steve did it.
Steve's the werewolf.
Yeah. Steve did it.
And you see, we have Steve's the werewolf, and in my other group that I play this with, we have that's what a werewolf would say.
Oh, and then we have the take your shirt off!
Yeah,
Prove you're not a werewolf!
Prove you don't have a hairy chest.
Well, somebody...
And this is also what the game's good for, is these stories of... Here's what happened.
Oh, what's his name's birthday?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So one of the guys we were playing with, he said, I can't be the werewolf. I don't have a hairy chest. And so it was like, okay, take your shirt off! Anyway, it was funny at the time.
Yeah, it's a little bit more mature in its content, so maybe for a little bit of a more mature audience.
Well,
but
they do
13 plus.
13 plus.
So.
But yeah, no, that one's definitely a favorite with our
our group.
Our group for sure.
I guess I'll get to experience it one day.
Oh, you've not played it?
No.
No, she's only just sort of moved back into the.
Oh yeah.
She was living, like 20 more minutes away before, so.
I also work a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Anyway.
Okay, enough about you.
Ultimate Werewolf by Ted Alspach.
Okay, cool. So, Mike.
Hi.
What are you going to do this week?
I'm going to work more on my hats, and who knows, maybe I'll end up in that Cal.
Okay, so no specific goal there, just to work more on my hat.
At the very least, I'd like to get to the point where they start decreasing for the top of the hat.
Oh, you'll be there in no time.
I'm sure I'll be there in no time.
With the way you're going, it'll be easy peasy. Okay, good on ya. I am going to block my graphite tank, see where it's at as far as the fit goes. And from there I'll know if I'm frogging it again or if I'm carrying on, so I can't really predict that right now. So yeah, that's what my thing for this week is going to be. Melissa.
Yes.
Do you want in on the, what are you going to do this week, or do you just want to go home and forget you were ever here?
No, I have goals.
Okay.
finish this stinking blanket.
No, well, not
In
this
a week?
Not this week.
What are you
So-
gonna do this week?
Let's make a sensible goal.
Let's
Like,
make.
this is about 3 inches.
Yes.
So, do you want to do another 3 inches, or do you want to do like 6 inches? Double
Or-
what you've already
6
done.
inches.
6 inches.
So
6 inches.
we're looking for about 9 inches of length on this the next time we see Melissa, and we don't know when
Shut
that's
it.
going to be. So we may just have to get her to take a picture
Maybe, yeah.
for the next time we do this. All right. So I
Well,
guess that's it for
I
this
guess
week.
that's it. It's not a long one.
Yeah, it is a long one. So keep
Your
your
knitting
knitting
close and your family closer.
Sometimes I think that's backwards, but don't tell anybody else I said that. Bye.
Bye.